Welcome to the Ohio Society of Professional Engineers Lunchtime Legislative Briefing.
Good afternoon, folks. Welcome. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the Ohio Society of Professional Engineers Lunchtime Legislative Briefing. This Lunchtime Legislative Briefing is a virtual member benefit held quarterly. It is a report highlighting important news about policy decisions that impact Ohio professional engineers, all within a 20-minute span. I am Matt Whitehead, Senior Vice President of Governmental Policy Group, Legislative Representation for the Ohio Society of Professional Engineers, the single most powerful voice representing Ohio's professional engineers. If you've attended previous briefings, you will have heard from other members of the legislative team, including OSPE Vice President of Legislative Affairs, Joe Warino. But today is my pleasure to present to you this quarter's Lunchtime Legislative Briefing. Let's get started on today's brief program. And as you'll see, our format, you'll learn about everything that you need to know in 20 minutes. We ask you to keep your microphones on off and ask questions via email. For your education, the next briefing will be June 30th, 2023. Briefings begin at noon via Zoom. And for your question purposes, Holly Flanagan at the Society is listed here, as well as myself. And with that, we'll go ahead and get started. So let's start with the State Board of Registration news. The state budget's going on right now, and we'll talk a little bit about that, but they had hoped to increase their registration fees from $40 per biennium to $60 per biennium. And what they have done is actually not include that in the as introduced version of House Bill 33, the state budget. In addition, they would have to consolidate their application fees in some other way because it was not done through the budget process. Additionally, the state board will be seeking changes to revised code section 473316, which covers the subject of businesses authorized to practice engineering and surveying in Ohio. The changes to protect the public by removing any ambiguity in statute and requiring a full-time employee who is also registered with the board to serve as the firm's person in responsible charge of engineering activities. The proposed language ensures that engineering and surveying firms are managed by PEs and PS, respectively. The proposed changes will not include any additional requirements or regulations on existing firms. And then additionally, the state board will be on the list for review in 2023 and 2024 per Senate Bill 255. This was legislation that was passed and enacted in 2018. And we'll talk a little bit more about that here later as well. So we are in the new General Assembly, and it kicked off. It's the 135th General Assembly. It gabbled in January 3rd, and it ends December 31st, 2024. In this session, we selected a new Speaker of the House, Jason Stevens. He is a former Lawrence County Auditor and Commissioner, and he's from Kitts Hill down in Lawrence County. He was elected with a coalition made up of 22 Republicans and 32 Democrats, which is a little bit of a more unique path to become the Speaker. In the election in 2022, all 99 members of the House were up for election. It was the split has come down to a 67-32 Republican Democrat majority minority. Of those 99 members, 28 new members came into the General Assembly, 15 Republican, 13 Democrat. But we now have two additional seats. Representative Brian Baldridge, who had been elected to his third term, has been named by the governor to be the ag director. And Representative Chris Jordan passed away because of diabetic reaction. So they have two more seats to fill in the new General Assembly. So we'll be up to 30, just almost a third of the new members in this session in the House. In the Senate, a little bit more stability. President Matt Huffman from Lima reelected to his post. 33 members, 17 were up last year. and it's a 26-7 split in the majority minority levels over there. Most of those members were House members that were switching to the upper chamber. And so we have a lot of knowledge with them. Just briefly, since this is our first briefing since the last one in December when we were in the middle of the lame duck session, 3 bills that we were working on or following last year have been completed. The first, Senate Bill 56 by Bill Blessing, a member of OSPE. It regulates the use of indemnity provisions in professional design contracts. That bill was passed and signed by the governor. It just took effect last week. Senate Bill 131 is dealing with occupational license reciprocity, and it was intended to get more people into the fields and getting them moving from other states to show that we are open for business and taking away regulatory barriers, if you will, for folks in various industries. We did have some language added to that bill, and it did stay, and the governor signed it right after the Christmas holiday took effect immediately at 12/29/23, which will be a year from now, I should say, a year from when he signed it, to give the agencies time to get things together. But there were certain provisions in the bill unrelated to the occupational licensure that will take effect here April 3rd of this year. And then finally, as I said, the state board is going through their licensure reduction review. There was a bill last year that did this. We monitored this not because of any impact to engineering, but for the pattern of what the bills will do and what your regulatory board will have to go through this session through 2024. But some of the actions taken in that bill related to other industries were a reduction of CPD hours. There was a reduction in annual licensure fees, and in some fields removed certain licensure requirements. So we will be monitoring this very closely throughout this session for your regulatory board. And as we've said, the board is up. OSPE has taken the lead in coordinating a meeting with other interested partners to meet and offer support to the board and assistance in preparation for their 2023 review, calling upon all of our experiences and observations, giving them advice and counsel on how to navigate the legislative waters of the General Assembly. One bill that is currently pending that many of you are interested in is the transportation budget, House Bill 23. This is a bill by law that has to be signed and enacted by March 31st of this year for the ability to do bonding and construction projects for this year. And so the bill is a $13.5 billion budget for mainly transportation spending. There is funding included for the Brent Spence Bridge corridor, which is vital to our work and placement in this country for travel and for transportation related product delivery. The bill also includes a provision to allow Amtrak to build and provide rail service along corridors, but the state is taking an initial step of studying the feasibility of 2 potential corridors. One is the 3C and D, so Columbus, Cleveland, Cincinnati, and then a possible, as well as Dayton, and a possible connection between Cleveland and Detroit with a stop in Toledo. And so that language is in there to allow us to explore what that looks like. The second major debate is amongst an issue called force accounts for local governments and county engineers, so that they are permitted to do bridge and road maintenance projects using their own staff as opposed to bidding that out. And these changes in these force account limits have not been updated since 2003. So it's been 20 years since we've last looked at these numbers. Inflation, labor cost, supply costs have changed dramatically in those 20 years. So that is going to be one of the major sticking points that you'll hear about in the next week before the March 31st deadline. Additionally, the 2 chambers are split on a House added provision to spend $1 billion on rural highway projects. And again, that money and that decision will be timed out here in the coming days before the March 31st deadline. One issue of interest to OSPE specifically is an ODOT pavement selection process analysis. It required a ODOT to contract with a third party to conduct a study on the department's pavement selection process, and it would create an advisory council to recommend the neutral third party to oversee the study and to make final recommendations based on the study. Why it's important to OSPE is that you were given a designated seat to sit on the advisory council, and the portion of the bill, it was added in the House as a desired option, and then the Senate removed that language. And so we believe, and it is one of the, what we're calling a matter of difference between the chambers. So it is in play for conference committee. We are monitoring this for you, and we'll update you as the negotiations transpire this coming week. Also going on is the state operating budget. This is a 2-year operating budget, and it starts July 1st of this year and rolls through June 30th of 2025. But some highlights in this bill are a $2,500 income tax exemption per child. There is, as it relates to higher education, a $7.5 million per year investment in College Credit Plus to work with high schools. Ohio is going to complete a infrastructure upgrade for next generation 911 services so that you can not delay in getting services when you're in an emergency situation. The budget, the governor is also proposing $100 million in tax credits per fiscal year, so $200 million total, to develop and rehab low-income multifamily rental housing projects, especially as we have major corporations making major investments here in Ohio in Intel and Honda and LG. Obviously, rail is has taken a higher priority here, but this was introduced prior to East Palestine. But there's railroad grade crossing upgrades to the tune of $125 million. A couple years ago, the governor instituted the H2 Ohio initiative to help our lakes. And now he wants, and tributaries, but now he wants to make it expanded with the H2 Ohio Rivers initiative to specifically focus on our rivers. One of the bigger funds that is being created in this is the All Ohio Future Fund, which is $2.5 billion available to support site infrastructure, attracting new businesses, and encouraging workforce development across the state. And so imagine a greenfield and an industry coming in saying, we want to put a plant in here. This money would help create that project and lure even more businesses and projects like the Intel project and the LG Honda project for the battery plant down in Fayette County. Additionally, $200 million for career tech construction grants to, again, education and training programs for critical portions of our economy, computer science education programming in the terms of $18.5 million per year to leverage more consumer computer science courses, a $5 million internship pilot program to retain the highest number of college and career tech students post-graduation. And we are rapidly becoming in what we are calling Advanced Air Mobility and Drone Center here in Ohio and across the country through our Unmanned Aerial Systems Center. And the administration is investing $11 million over the biennium to research the partnership with the U.S. Air Force to help commercialize drone flights in the state. A couple of upcoming events for you is our Ohio Engineers Legislative Day. This is on Friday, April 21st from 9 to 1:30, a virtual event just like this, where you can get 4 hours of CPD credit The price is right at $35. If you're a member of NSPE, NSPE Ohio, ASCE, or IEEE. If you're a non-member, the price is still pretty good at $50. Registration closes April 12th, and you can go to the ohioengineer.com website and register live there. Additionally, we have the EFO benefit golf outing coming up on May 5th. This helps advance engineering education throughout Ohio. It is at the New Albany Links Golf Club. Again, it's a fundraiser to assist in engineering and math education throughout Ohio for school children, gifted teens, engineering college students. It helps fund math counts, Imagine Engineering, college scholarships, and the like. You can come for golf, you can come for lunch, happy hour, steak dinner, awards, whatever is in your schedule that day. But we ask you to register by April 14th for early bird pricing, and the 24th is the final deadline for golf reservations. And then finally, one of the other upcoming events is the All Ohio Engineering Conference. It is a blend of live and virtual events coming up in June. Again, this information is on the Ohio Engineering website, and you can get more details there, but it is June 8th and 9th with the annual meeting and engineering fellowship happening here in Columbus on June 10th. As I mentioned, we have 30 new legislators in the House. And so I always try to stress to you that it is your opportunity to build a relationship with them. On your behalf, we are meeting these legislators in their offices. We're seeing them in the hallways and informing them of what you do. But it is also incumbent upon you as members of OSPE to get out and talk to these legislators, whether you have them in to see your job site or your business, attend a chapter meeting. We ask you, if there is a meeting scheduled, for you to come and to meet those legislators. We want to make sure we have a good showing when they give their evening time to come talk with you. Go to their open door meetings. Most of them are publishing them on social media or in a potential local newspaper if they still exist. And go and talk with them. Introduce yourself. Tell them a little bit about what you do and how important your role is to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the state of Ohio. We also ask you to sign up and receive the magazine and legislative updates, regulatory updates. The society staff does a fantastic job keeping you up to date on everything that you need to know that is pending at the various entities in the state government. And with that, I've kept us right at the 20 minutes. You can ask any questions, again, through Holly Flanagan or to myself. We'd be happy to follow up with you. And I wish you have a wonderful Friday and a great weekend, and welcome to spring. And we'll hope to see you at some of the upcoming events that we talked about here in the session. Thank you very much and have a wonderful day.